define a legend? Interestingly enough, a legend can be two things.
A story about an event like a folktale or myth. On the other hand, it can describe a well-known person, an icon, a genius, a superstar.
For something to become legendary, however, it has to leave such a profound impact that it stays marked in memory long after the event has come to a close.
Queen's Live Aid performance on July 13, 1985 consistently tops list after list of the best rock performances of all time. On that early summer evening in London, they were the champions. The thrill of being at a live concert has an electrifying energy that no radio play or recording can convey. So this brings me to the big event. By the mid-'80s, Bob Geldof, the creator of Live Aid, was a well-known artist in his own right. After resigning as the lead singer of the Boomtown Rats, he went on to launch his own solo career. All the while, hunger and famine were ravaging Ethiopia and Sudan. So Bob came up with the idea to harness the money-making power of music to spread awareness, help, and hope to those in need. He raised almost $10 million with his 1984 multi-artist collaboration, Do They Know It's Christmas? And raising $44 million with We Are the World. I mean, is there anyone out there older than Gen Z who has not heard these songs before? Knowing this, his vision grew overnight. In 10 short weeks, he put together one of the world's most ambitious musical adventures to date. He organized a cross-continental experience between Wembley Stadium in London and Philadelphia's JFK Stadium. Altogether, there were 75 acts between two arenas, and every major artist of the day performed. 1.9 billion people across 150 nations tuned into Live Aid, making this one of the largest-scale satellite link-ups in television broadcasts in history. This event was global in size. An estimated 40% of the world's population was watching. Few events have topped it since. The concert raised $127 million for famine relief in Africa. Today's money, that would equal about $465 million. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is what I call giving back. The naysayers of the day might have pointed out that Queen should have considered themselves lucky to even be invited to participate. While they had set the airwaves on fire throughout the 70s, their last couple of albums released in 81 and 82 were, well, let's just say they were nothing to write home about. 1984's I Want to Break Free and Radio Gaga were their only current hits. On top of that, the band was dealing with rumors of a breakup due to solo albums and controversy over a performance done in South Africa during apartheid. And they were losing relevancy and popularity in the public eye. Depending on how you look at it, Queen's placement on the roster could have been a bit daunting as well. Having to go on right after wildly popular newcomers U2 and Dire Straits, and immediately before the iconic David Bowie and Elton John. No pressure, right? Could a band that's no longer in its heyday still captivate an audience and rock them like they used to? Sadly, on the day of the Live Aid performance, lead singer Freddie Mercury was not feeling so well. Unbeknownst to him, he was dealing with the early complications of HIV, which would eventually lead to his demise. Nonetheless, with his bandmates Brian May on guitar, Roger Taylor on drums, John Deacon on bass, and a big old shot of vodka for Freddie, as we like to say, they showed up and showed out. Queen put on the kind of set that people revered generation after generation.
So what do you consider the best part of a live concert performance?
Some of us, it's hearing our favorite artists rework the songs we know so well in real time, coupled with raw, unpolished, and unchecked musicality. For others, it's the crowd's contagious vibe that creates somewhat of a bonding moment between friends and strangers. Whatever the magic may be, we find ourselves captured in the moment, living the present, and feeling the now. One thing that's always said about this performance is how perfectly spot on the notes were. May, Taylor, and Deacon played an absolutely flawless set. And all of Queen, especially frontman Freddie Mercury, showed they knew how to work a crowd. When Freddie strutted out from the stage's wing like a peacock with his signature half microphone stand in his hand, his hair slicked back and Ned Flanders mustache, he looked like he just knew what he came to do. So let's talk fashion. Sporting a toned-down look of slim, light blue stonewashed jeans, Wrangler of course his favorite, a white tank top, a black studded belt and armband to match, and Adidas sneakers. Casual as it may seem, almost 4 decades later, this ensemble is still noteworthy. You see, he didn't need those over-the-top, highly stylized costumes he was known for. His vocal mastery and swagger were the show. It was no surprise that Freddie had the audience wrapped around his finger from the first few notes of Bohemian Rhapsody. He played the tune on piano with all the ease and expertise of someone who'd been playing since the age of 7. Being one of their most attention-grabbing hits, it was the perfect way to start the set. While he only had basic guitar skills, this didn't stop Freddie from showing them off later during Crazy Little Thing Called Love. That evening, Queen wrote the book on the art of crowd participation, creating a sing-along atmosphere that crowds live for. It was truly hypnotic. The band spent the majority of their 20-minute performance on their newer work, but by beginning and ending their set with classics and fan favorites, they created a kind of apex to their career. They proved they were still a band that unites the people and fills them with excitement. Wrapping up their set with what are now total rock classics, We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions, the energy in the arena amped up to high voltage. Freddie worked that microphone like he was playing right along with May. Then finally, to close, Freddie sat back down at the piano and shared a heartfelt message behind We Are the Champions. The pulse of the crowd was as if it was beating from one heart. You didn't need to physically be at Wembley Stadium to feel this ultra-human moment of connection. Years later, Brian May, the band's lead guitarist, stated, "The rest of us played okay, but Freddie was out there and took it to another level." When asked about the significance of Queen's Live Aid set, Freddie had this to say, "As far as I'm concerned, I'm doing it out of pride. It's something to be proud of that I'm actually in with all the biggies, all the biggest stars. And I can do something worthwhile. Yes, I'm proud more than anything." Come to think of it, Sir Elton John himself greeted the band backstage to congratulate them on a job well done. Now come on, this is Elton John. You know, the one who once called Madonna a fairground stripper?
Can I say that on YouTube? Oh, I'm good. Okay. It was more like him bursting into Freddie's trailer muttering, "You bastard stole the show." But it was all love, though.
You must know what it means to rise and fall, to triumph and to fail. We all love a good comeback story. Redemption is something to celebrate. Not every song can be a hit, but don't ask the Beatles. And not every note we sing is perfect, unless our mother's name is Sissy. But sometimes we achieve spectacular moments, that one show that really propels us forward. And though at this point Queen had only enjoyed the heights of success for a decade, it wasn't always a bed of roses. But this was still a comeback and a chance to remind the entire world what they could still do. Queen proved to be a musical phoenix that day in July, able to resurrect itself and rise to the occasion in tribute to its fellow man. If I'm dead tomorrow, I don't give a damn. I've lived. I really have done it all. Freddie Mercury.
So again, I'll ask, what is a legend? Queen. And what's legendary? Their performance on July 13th, 1985, Wembley Stadium, London.
Wow, what a tale. I was merely a child when this aired. I remember every TV in our house being tuned in. Were you a part of the Live Aid experience, either in person or virtually? Speaking of virtual, lots of love to our awesome patrons for supporting our production team that makes videos like this one possible. Consider joining them on our Patreon. Gracias. I'll catch you in the next video. Love, LeMay. Mwah.